Hey guys, welcome back to the next episode. So yeah, we're gonna continue where we left off in the site structure kind of like module or session. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue with expanding out and doing a little bit more keyword research around some of the verticals here. And then we are going to clean up the rest of this list. And then we're gonna clean up by removing some of the duplicates and also filtering out some of the irrelevant stuff. So let's get started. So if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Jaden, and I'm currently doing a series of how to optimize a website kind of from scratch. And if you didn't watch from the first episode, please go back, take a look and see if you like the series where I show you behind the shoulders of exactly what goes on behind a marketing campaign and also explain, I think, which is more importantly, why we do certain things. And yeah, so we're currently doing this section where we are deciding which URL structure to go with. And this is done via looking at some of the keywords that we have here. So we have already kind of decided like we want to go with this structure. So I think within this video, we can decide like the URL structure already. We can come up with the URL structure. So for services, we are leaning towards this structure. And then for the resources, which is like the blog posts and stuff like that, we are relating towards this. And yeah, so to justify like, do I need like this or like, do I want this or this? I want to take a little bit more look into some keywords and see like if we can find any more reasons to take either or for the structure. So yeah, you can see, yeah, so services and packages, right? I think they can be under the same page as the funeral, like this main keyword here. So I don't need to have the URL structure laid out in such a way that it's like that, right? Where it's like funeral and then I have another one, which is, Hindu / packages. Because I think that will be like too much. We don't need to have that many keywords. Sorry, we don't need to have that many pages targeting the same kind of keywords because I think it will end up cannibalizing each other. And maybe like 3 months or 6 months down the road, we'll end up merging these pages anyway. So it's better to start off with one page, and then if we find that, they are showing like a lot of that page is showing up for a lot of keywords and some keywords are struggling to get to the first page, then maybe we can think about splitting the pages. But yeah, we're going to start off with one page first. So yeah, it's a comparison, not a lot of search volume here. Yeah, so for services, I think we are more or less confirmed that we are going with this route. It's just for those informational based content, like do I really want to go this route or this route? And if you're not sure like why we have landed here, how we have landed here, go back and watch 2 episodes before this, because this is where we started the site structure series. Kind of, yeah, this is where we started doing this website architecture. So that will provide you a little bit more context. So let's see Taoist funeral. Yeah, Taoist funeral rituals. Okay, maybe I want to open one. I want to find the main one keyword that kind of is a broad keyword for informational base, and then see whether we can find a lot more secondary keywords after that. So let's say, so I'm going to avoid all these Chinese ones. Yeah, so this has very little search volume though, 20. I believe I saw, yeah, so this, yeah, so let's expand this out and then see whether, yeah, customs. So again, not a lot. What I want to do is take a look at the main. So usually how you find like secondary keywords, right, is you can, I usually look at the websites that are performing the best in terms of how much traffic they're getting, because usually like these websites will already have a lot of keywords that I can kind of like scout. So yeah, this is a informational based content. They have 11 keyword, 37 traffic, not a lot. This one is packages, so I'll probably not find a lot of informational based keywords here. This one maybe, but they don't have a lot of traffic. So yeah, Taoist, what to wear during a week. So this one is generic for sure. Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, right? Okay, you see, at this point in time, the only reason for me to go with this structure is because I found a lot of different kind of informational keywords for like the main race and religion, like for example Buddhist, Christian. But that's really about it, because I'm not finding a lot for like, let's say, the smaller religion, like the smaller group of people, which is like Taoist, for example. So I'm not too sure, do I want to go with that? At this moment in time, right? I think both is fine. But I'm just thinking about the resources that I will need. Yeah. Yeah. So now let me go in and let's take a look at all the keywords with Buddhist. Okay. And then kind of see 100 days after that. Okay, so it's also not a lot. Buddhist or Chinese. Okay, 34. So there are 34 keywords around Chinese. Yeah, so let me see if Christian. How about Christian? Yeah, Christian also. Okay, this is Christ. Okay. It doesn't have a lot of informational based keywords though. Okay, so I think judging from this, right, the reason why I was leaning towards this is because I found a lot of informational based content keywords for the Chinese and kind of like the Buddhist section, right? So earlier you saw like there are 30 plus keywords, potential keywords that we can go after. So if we want the website to be able to show up for the most relevant for, let's say, Chinese, Hindu and stuff like that, then that's how we would want to do it, by having this, because then there will be a lot more relevancy, right? Each tree will be a lot relevant because, like, if let's say we have resources like this and then it's for, let's say, Chinese, for example, right? Then this will be way more relevant because we have all these posts about Chinese, religion, culture, and stuff like that. And then same with Hindu. This way we'll have a lot more relevancy for each individual kind of tree we are trying to target, right? But from what I'm noticing now, it doesn't seem like the rest, like even for Christian, which is based off on, researching and looking at all the keywords, right? Even for Christian, there isn't a lot of search volume around that for information-based keywords. So that means if we were to build this out, it will only be for this Chinese, and then the rest doesn't really get that benefit because of how small the number of keywords around Christian funeral traditions or customs and things like that, right? So the only maybe benefit will be for Chinese, right? But the cons will be, what we need to do is, this will result in a lot more pages because each of them will have its own category, right? So Hindu will have its own category, Muslim, Christian, Taoist, everything will have its own category, which means there will be more pages to manage, more category pages to manage. And with more pages, it means to say there's a lot more maintenance as well. Like, we need to make sure that, the category pages are, we don't want to have this category and then just one post in there, because that beats the purpose of like having this structure in the first place. The reason why we want to have this structure is because when people land on this URL, right, it shows them like all the resources for, if let's say they are Chinese or Buddhist, right, then they have all these resources about what to prepare, the rituals and stuff like that, right? But if we have, like, let's say, for example, this, and then let's say it's Christian, right? And then over at the Christian, over at this URL, there's only like one post, because based off of the keywords that we see earlier, there isn't a lot. Then it's going to be a waste of that page, because then we need to maintain this page. So there's a lot more things for you to manage. So the pros, usually when I look at a decision on whether which ones to decide, I'm kind of thinking like 2 to 3 steps down the road of like, okay, what are the things that we need to maintain? What is the pros? What is the cons? And does the pros justify the cons? Because usually there will be some kind of cons, but if the pros is we can get more traffic, and if we are able to get a lot more traffic, but that means to say we need to maintain the site, we need to maintain more pages, then it's okay. But as of right now, it seems like the cons is outweighing the pros, which is, we are going to have a lot more pages to manage, but it doesn't seem like we're going to get a lot of traffic, because the only part, it's the Chinese. We're finding a lot of informational keywords around Chinese, but not the rest of the stuff. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. This is usually what goes on when we think about like which is the best site architecture. And again, there's really no best. It's just I'm kind of like verbalizing what I think when I look at a site structure to see how we are setting up the site for success. For me personally, I don't like to change things very often. So I like to do it once, but then do it the best that I can, make the best decision that I can at this moment in time. And so that's why like all these thoughts come into my mind. So yeah, I'm going to confirm that, because if not, I'm going to confirm like we don't need this by going into, let's say, Hindu, okay? And see whether do we have a lot of informational based keywords around Hindu. We don't have it here, okay? What I'm going to do is, let's say, Hindu funeral traditions, okay? This is in UK. Yeah, it's in Singapore. Weird. Yeah, UK is showing up. So that means to say, highly likely, okay, so you can see like a UK site is ranking on top. This would likely mean that there isn't a lot of search volume for keywords like this, because if there is, usually a local site will be ranking for it. But it's going to confirm two things. One, there is no search volume for this. That's why a foreign site is ranking. Number two, there is search volume for this, and this is a low-hanging fruit because non-local site is ranking for this, which means if we were to rank for this, it's going to be quite easy because this is currently owned by a site that it's not based in the market that we are trying to optimize for. So yeah. So what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to go in and just take a look at this URL. Okay, remove this feature snippet here. Then, where is it? Okay. And then see in our local market. So I don't want to see in US because all the search volume will be different. I just want to see in Singapore. There's a total of 6 keywords. Yeah, so there's not a lot of informational based keywords even around like the traditions, right? So we have customs, but that's the only one. So again, I want to expand this out. Yeah, so all these like don't have. So I'm looking at the traffic numbers here because this is kind of telling me like how big of the size there is to capture if for informational based content around the race or religion. So it's not showing me a lot, to be honest. So yeah, we have 3 here. All these are customs. This is the only one that I see. Flower, water, after funeral. This is also, yeah, so rituals, this is like ritual, but other than that, there's not really a lot. Yeah, so, okay, I think I'm more or less decided. So what we're going to do is we're going to confirm it, okay? And we're going to go with this, okay? We are going to go with this route, okay? So for services, we're going to go this. And then for our blog post, we're going to go this. Now, what do we want to name our blog post? Do we want to name it resources? Do we want to name it advice or guides? We could name it guides. We could name it, okay, this part is actually, it doesn't require that much thinking actually, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to try to use ChatGPT. Okay, so I took a little bit of time to just like see whether if ChatGPT can help us come up with some interesting stuff for how we name our category, but it doesn't seem like, there's a lot. So yeah, I think I'm just going to go with some easy ones. Either support. Yeah, I like support. So we can do support. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with guide. So I think guide is the it is the easiest to understand, right? Yeah, just like a guide. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with guide because it's the easiest to understand and most of the content. Like advice, all these are okay. I'm just going to go with guide. Yeah. Okay. So we have our main structure set up. Now let's just do it. Let's just clean everything. Yep. So we're gonna start like a finalized one. And so here we are, services, and then we have the next one will be all the rest of the services here. Yeah, so we're gonna have all of this here. So then the URL will be okay. So yeah, I have changed it to this. So we have like kind of like the page description, the home page, the trunk and a branch, and then kind of like the final URL. So let's do this. Include all the services in here. And then we have the services. All this belongs to the services trunk. And this one will be kind of like the main keyword. So do funeral. Yep. And then we have Taoist funeral, Buddhist funeral, Christian funeral, Muslim funeral, Ka funeral. And then all this will just be automated, right? So this will tell us the URL. And then I think we still have a little bit more. So we have Chinese, Malay, Indian. Okay, so I'm just gonna type all of this in first, and then Chinese, funeral, Malay, and Indian funeral. All right, so with a site structure like that, right, it also sets you up for success because in the future, let's say you want to add in a new service, right? So all you do is basically like here, let's say embalming, right? And then you can, this is under the funeral trunk, and then you can just add in like embalming, and then this will be your main URL, right? So that's how you do it. This trunk, it's under the about section. So this will be about, right? And like I mentioned, sometimes there's no branch and it's fine. So all these are good to go. And there's also another way to do it, which is like, let's say services, right? And then you can also do it like funeral services. Okay. And then all this can be like the leaves, right? There's also another way that I can do it, which is kind of like services, and then we have services and then funeral. And then here will be kind of like, Hindu. Okay, I'm just gonna show you guys some other examples of how you can do it. So it can also be something like that. Right? Services, funeral, Hindu, which is kind of like falling into this is the four layers dip. How many layers is this? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this is somewhat similar to this, but like I mentioned earlier, like I don't need to have that because of the research that I've done earlier. So I don't need to have this structure, but just in case if you want to know how to do it, if you need to do it will be something like that. But again, I don't need that, so I'm going to stick to just having the branch. Yeah. So this will be kind of like the main services. And then in the future, like if let's say, cremation, it also can be cremation, and then we can just copy and paste this and then just cremation. Right. So you can see the URL structure is very is structured. Right. There is a structure behind it. And also it's very clean. We're targeting the main keyword, and it's going to be very easy to replicate, because next time, for example, if we were to add in a new service, we just have to add in here. And then we already know how the URL structure will be like. Because if you don't, then, in the future, if there's no kind of like blueprint that you are following, then in the future, you may add in like a service, and then that service can be, let's say, well, hopefully this is not the case, but if let's say you add in a service, right? And then it can just be like, and then like funeral, let's say cremation is something new, like then you add in like cremation services, right? And then like you suddenly have a cremation services, and then this is just going to be weird because you already have a structure like that, right? So it's going to be very, very awkward, because the more different pages that you add on without a structure, the messier your site will be, because you're not only doing this for, obviously like the users that is navigating your site, but you're also doing this for Google, for the algorithm to better understand, right? So yeah, so that's at least that's how I do it. So we have for the services now, I'm gonna do it for what we're gonna call this. We're gonna call this guides, right? Yeah. So we have a section. We're gonna have a section about guides, and then this will be guide. Okay. And then we have all the posts. Okay. So when you don't have the post now, it's fine. You can just leave it like that, right? Because it's going to be, and like I mentioned, because this is a very small site, so we don't necessarily need to be planning out. But if let's say you have a big site, like we have done site architecture for like multiple different markets, then you kind of expand this out. But again, I'm just trying to show you the concepts and frameworks so that it doesn't matter what kind of sites you are working with, you can plan out how you want to do things, the ideas of how you can, lay out your entire site architecture. The template is not dead. The template is based off on what you want, right? So yeah, I'm going to do that I'm going to finish up the confirmed site architecture first and see, okay, so what else do we have? We have the about, we also have testimonials, right? So you can put like testimonials. Okay, we have testimonials. I can also put the testimonials under the about section, to be honest. If I want to do that, I can just, drag it up to the about section, and then I can just do this. So I'll know that it's under the about trunk. And then we can do this and this. So we also can do this, right? And then we also have a contact us. So yeah, which is the contact button. So yeah, so this is our hierarchy. What else? Let me go take a look. Yeah, so we have services, contact. Yeah, so like I mentioned, this is a very, very small site. So we don't have to like think about the expand, but the main thing here is it's easy to build out, right? It's easy to build out. So in the future, let's say, for example, they're offering, they're opening up a different market. So we'll just follow this hierarchy for the other market. But in this case, what happens is then you need to think about, how are you going to set up your individual markets? Is it going to be our subdomain or sub folders and things like that, right? But generally, that's how you do it. So again, this might be, easy to set it up, and it may take like a little bit of time for us to reach here. But like, I think it took me like 3 episodes to reach here. One episode is probably like an hour, and that hour is me explaining things and doing the research. So if I cut that all down, it probably take like 1.5 hours, 2 hours maximum, right? But you can see how we reach here is not just by what we think. It's a lot of making sure that we are thinking about what the business requires and also backing that up with some kind of data. And so yeah, that's how I usually plan out the site architecture, and not just just planning out based off of what I think will do well, right? So yeah, next thing I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to start importing all the keywords in here, and then this could be our potential list of where we work off for like keywords to either rank for or create a page about either informational or service-based keywords. So we already, yeah, so I'm going to export all this out, the rest of the 70 keywords out, and then I'm going to import it in here. So what do I need? Keyword volume, KD. Keyword volume, KD CPC. Keyword volume, KD CPC. Yeah, I'm just going to do the old copy and paste method. Okay, so now we have all these keywords that we have done earlier, right? Total, there's around 600 plus. So we're going to filter these out. We're going to remove the duplicates first. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to data cleanup, and remove duplicates, unselect all, and just want to remove all the duplicates for keywords. So 28 of these duplications have been removed. So we are left with 500 plus, right? And then what I want to look at, it's basically keywords that doesn't have search volume, because I noticed like there's a few that doesn't have search volume that's popping up, right? So yeah, those volume that has 0, I'm going to remove. And then even like those that are tens, I'm going to remove them as well. Actually, do I want to? Because these are like very, yeah, these are definitely keywords that I do want to keep these, because these are keywords that I want to keep, even though it has 10, So yeah, I'm going to remove one way of how you can actually remove stuff, right? It's you can build out a list first. So when we remove, usually we want to filter out things that are repetitive, right? So for example, you can see this is 2022. So all the years in 2022, we actually don't need it. So what I'm going to do, right, I am going to include another column here with check. And then I am going to basically insert a checkbox in, okay? So I don't want to have to keep, filtering and removing. So yeah, let's go to filter again. And now what I want to do is I want to check all the numbers, right? All these numbers, all these are postal codes, right? So we're going to check. So later on when we remove, we're just going to remove all the ones that have been checked, okay? And then now I also want to remove any dates. So 202. So you have like all these dates which are not useful. Check all of this. Okay, and then all the Chinese characters. So it's clear all, and then we're gonna filter out all these Chinese characters. Okay, and then we have 44 of them. So we're gonna delete. Okay, and then what I'm noticing is also, again, I'm looking for patterns because I want to spot one pattern, and then I want to kind of do the same for all. So you can see like all these addresses. So I'm noticing is a lot of addresses, right? So again, I can just check this off. But if let's say, for example, Highland, it's one of the, or road, it's a common word that comes up in address, right? So you can go in, filter out for road. So you don't have any, because this is the only one. Then you can, like, let's say Highland. There is also. Let's say this is the part of the road. So you can see like all these are roads, the addresses, which is probably not going to be important for us, right? Because firstly, the business is not in this area, and secondly, yeah, all these are, yeah, it's just not in the area, so we don't need that. So there's no second, yeah, and then all these are addresses, right? So you can see all these are addresses. So we're gonna check all of this. Yeah, so it seems like block. I'll remove all this. Booking, yeah, all these are very navigational keywords. So we are not going to rank for this. Yeah, all these are also not really important. Okay. And then basically what you do is you just go through this list, right? And once you check with all those, what you do is you just filter out, and then you can see we have checked like 76, right? And then what you do is just basically remove selected rows, and all the keywords will be gone. So we trim down to like, let's say 500 plus, right? So essentially what you do is kind of the same thing. You just go through and then filter out, look for common words. So for example, like parking, right? Parking is definitely, it's not relevant to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the words that have all parking. I'm going to select all. and I'm going to check all of them. Okay. And then maybe there's a short form park as well. Okay. And then there are two. See, one multi-story car park. Like this is not necessary, right? And then, yeah, again, then you just go in and look for the patterns again. So this is how usually I do it. The Red Sea, burn paper, bus. So we don't need bus, right? And let's see how many words there are. Okay, so there's only one, so we can just check this off, right? And then just keep those that you think will be relevant. So car park is definitely not what we want. I think I already filtered that out. Yeah. So what is this? Yeah. And then you basically just go through this list, look for common patterns, and then trim it down to, as much as you want to, and then leave all those that is important. So I'm not going to go through like the whole filtering process here because I think you understand the gist of it. So yeah, that's about it for the site architecture. So what we have done is we have, we went from all this to this, and then we can go in and remove this because it's not required anymore. And then these are just all the potential keywords that we can start looking at. I'm going to delete all this, right? So at the end, what you'll be left with is you'll be left with a site architecture that is easy to replicate, that is easy to expand, to scale, right? And everybody can just follow, because sometimes when you're working with developers, they want to know like, okay, so we're publishing a new page. Where do you want us to, put it under? And then you can just let them know, yeah, put it under this trunk. This is kind of how our structure is like. It's just going to be so much easier, right? So yeah, that's all about this. We're done. So yeah, hopefully you like this series. Let me know in the comment section that is there a better way to do it, or how would you go about doing it, right? And I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you liked the video, just help me hit the like button down below. And if you've watched until so far, like you are again into deep, like you are 30 minutes in, just hit the subscribe button. You help the channel a lot. We're trying to grow the channel bit by bit. And yeah, if you find this helpful, share it with somebody that you know. That being said, that's all. Thanks for watching. Cheers.